in Indianapolis, Indiana. Formed in 2012, the partner clinicians of FCP have over 150 years of experience servicing at-risk youth and families throughout Marion County and Central Indiana. Family and Community Partners, LLC, partners with families and communities to deliver smart, sophisticated, and kind services to the least of these across Indiana. For more information about Family and Community Partners, visit them at familyandcommunitypartners.com or contact them at 317-252-5258.
When you have a growing family, other things in your life start getting bigger too, like your home.
Can't wait for the new deck! What?
And especially your bills.
That'll be $249.86.
Oh.
But with Allstate, the amount you can save is getting bigger too. Because right now, when you bundle coverage for your car, home, motorcycle, and more, you can save up to 30%.
Call Adrian Smiley today at 317-228-0707.
Have you ever experienced the stress of dealing with a loved one during a disability or seen the chaos after the death of someone who's died? Well, Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law Firm specializes in helping guide families through such traumatic events. They're committed to helping individuals create a personalized estate plan that meets their expectations. The firm is comprised of individuals that believe in education, maintenance, and collaboration. They believe that estate planning should focus on providing you with a plan that reflects who you are, maximizes your control during life, protects you and your wishes in the event of a disability, and provides the instructions for carrying out your legacy at your death. If you're in need of wills, trust, power of attorney, guardianship assistance, Medicaid services, or probate administration, contact their office today at 317-572-8696 or visit their website at www.estateplanners.org. Norton Estate Planning and Elder Law Firm is committed to protecting your dignity and securing your legacy.
And we are back. You are tuned in to Let's Go There with Cassandra, where we are talking about the power of your vote, a community leader's perspective. And we have two awesome community leaders who are just dropping all kind of nuggets and knowledge. And just, this has been a very interesting conversation. I don't have access to Facebook, so I can't see the comments that people are leaving. But has anybody left any, Dwayne? Okay, awesome. So we're going to move on to the next question, and that is, and you kind of talked about this a little bit before we went to break, how can we hold candidates accountable once they've been elected? To your point, Kenneth, a lot of times we do think once they get elected that there's nothing we can do until the next election, but there are things that we can do to hold them accountable. So let's talk about that. What can we do? Kenneth, if you want to talk a little bit about how we can hold them accountable.
Yeah, as a citizen, our job starts when the elected official job starts. So once they take the oath of office in January, that's when we have a responsibility as a citizen, whether we voted for them or not, we have a responsibility to hold them accountable. And what that looks like is that means that we have to go to city county council meetings. We have to go to hearings at the State House. We have to communicate our concerns, either email, U.S. mail, or when we see them out in the community. And so it's critically important that we hold them accountable and that we participate in the process. Oftentimes things are passed or policies are enacted because they don't have public input and they reach out to the community. I do know that elected officials, we have a responsibility to do better at communicating because sometimes they don't communicate intentionally because they don't want to hear your voice. But we have to make sure that we're paying attention, that we're engaged all throughout that elected official's term. So I think it's critically important that we get engaged, that we show up, that we write. If we can't be there in person, email, letter, or even contacting those elected officials when we see them out in the community. And if for some reason, I'll reiterate this again, if some reason that they get elected to an office and they are not serving the people that they said they would serve in the manner that they said they would serve, you don't have to wait to the next election cycle to get rid of that person. You put enough pressure on that person and that person's political party, and they will become an artist formerly known as a public servant.
Okay. And how do you put that pressure? How do you apply pressure?
You advocate. You say, hey, you said you was going to do this, you're not doing this. You contact that individual, you contact that individual's party, you do grassroots, and you keep showing up. For me, for 4 years, I tried to get an Indianapolis Commission on African American Males. Kept coming to a dead end. Kept coming to a dead end. And then I started seeing that you ain't got to wait till an election to get rid of a public office. And suddenly we have an Indianapolis Commission on African American Males that was enacted by the full council.
Okay.
The other thing I would say to that is study a candidate's platform. Because when they're running for office, and that's for any type of office, each candidate puts out a platform of why you should pick me, why you should vote for me, okay? And as we often know, in several different levels of elected officials, once they get in office, I don't quite remember that.
Right.
And so study the candidate's platform, hold them accountable to that platform. If they're saying they're going to reduce poverty, if they say that they're only going to accept so much money and give so much back of their salary, okay? Because the other thing that people must understand is that any elected official, we pay for their salaries, okay? So they work for us. We don't work for them. We're not supposed to kiss the ring. We're not supposed to bow down and be not accessible to their candidate, although we know that happens. That happens more often than not. So with that, we have to study their platforms. If they're elected from day one, especially when they take that oath of office. And for those of you that have never heard or have memorized or even are aware of the oath of office that a candidate takes, they swear to uphold.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Okay? On a Bible.
I don't know if that means anything.
Well, that's why I'm pointing it out, baby sis.
I don't know about that.
That's why I'm pointing it out, baby sis.
They might as well just swear on right here.
I don't want to be struck by God myself. I'm not swearing to nothing on a Bible that I'm not saying, yes, Lord, I said it. I might be late in doing it, but I'm not saying it. So you know what I'm saying? But so, yes, you have to, and from day one, look at that platform that they ran to you, that they said they wanted you to vote for them, and I'm different because I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Okay, and then once they go on that Bible and they get sworn in and do that oath, okay, now you say it, and that's why I voted for you. Okay, you say it's such and such. And then again, I think that's the one thing why I stay a student of the politics, like you were saying earlier. But staying out of that, it gives you that independent voice. It doesn't go with like what a clique or the group says this, and this is the way we got to go, okay? Or if you step aside from the clique or the group and you want to have an independent thinking person that doesn't go with the hidden agenda, then that's perceived to be blasphemy, okay? Then you just stepped out of order. Well, see, if you do the advocacy from the other side, okay, stay a student of it. Everyone should, whatever level of government it is, okay? Because it does affect their life every day. Mm-hmm. But you must hold that candidate responsible because they work for you. They work for you. That's where our tax dollars go, be it school board, be it trustee, be it the mayor, be it the prosecutor. Those are positions that are paid with taxpayer dollars. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people underestimate their voice because they don't want to go up against a judge or they don't want to go up against a prosecutor. They don't even want to go to court, period. I don't want nothing to do with that. Okay, but then when your child and it lands at your doorstep, okay, because you did not exercise that vote via that key to your voice, then you get what you get.
Mm-hmm. You get what you get. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think it's just critically important that we exercise a voice to Queen Boyd's point, when I worked in the House of Representatives, if they got one letter about an issue, most of them didn't pay attention to it. They got 2 letters about the issue, most of them. But when they start to get 3, 4, 5, 6 emails, phone calls, they're like, oh, you know what? We need a legislative assistant. Let's, have a meeting. Let's, get some research about this issue. So it's so critically important that we exercise our voice and voice our concerns about how we feel about particular issues, whether it's yay or nay on a particular issue.
So listeners, hear that. Please don't feel like your voice does not matter. Contact your local official, your state representative, your federal representative, and let them know how you feel about what's going on in your community, and not just one person. We can flood their inboxes, and then things have to change, and that's probably what's missing. We're not flooding, we're not calling, we're not flooding the emails, and so, like, to your point, they feel like, oh, one person said it. It's not really a big deal, but you have 200-300 people from your district that's calling and emailing you on a consistent basis, that you have no choice but to say, absolutely, I have to address this. So we have to get involved. We have to start being more vocal. We are at Pathway Resource Center today, and they are doing a voter registration drive. So if you are not registered to vote, come on out to Pathway.
If you move recently.
Exactly. Need to update. Come on out to Pathway Resource Center and get registered. Update your information, because our voice needs to be heard on the 3rd. Our 4th question, we're almost done, you guys. Our 4th question is, what impact does not voting have on communities of color? So now we're going to bring this all the way to our backyard. Mm-hmm. What impact does not voting, do you staying at home, what impact does that have on communities of color? Kenneth?
Yes, a huge impact. So I think in Marion County, there are close to 1 million voters, eligible voters in Marion County. And of those close to 1 million, probably only a third of them actually vote on a consistent basis. And so when you don't exercise your right to vote, what you are saying is that you don't care what type of resources your township government or your local government receives. You're saying that, you don't care what policies are passed. You don't care if that, school at the school board level, whether or not the curriculum that's being taught is culturally comprehensive, that the students are able to see themselves reflected in the curriculum. You don't care what type of property tax caps are put on in your local area. And so it affects so many different things to how much money that, you may get from the federal government for resources, for aid, for housing, shelter, food, and et cetera. So it's critically important. And when we're not at the table, when we don't exercise our right to utilize that key, we miss out on a number of opportunities, both at the federal level and at the local level.
I'm going to go, I agree with you, definitely, Kenneth. I want to go more to the neglect that individuals and families of color, Hispanics, blacks, of course, how the neglect occurs, and the system fails.
Yeah,
because there is power in the voice. So just like right now, I'm really concerned about our children 5 years from now, even with education. Because these school systems, for the most part, have not done what to do. Betsy DeVos in Washington has never really, until she was appointed in that position,
know anything about
had never even stepped a toe in a public school system. Okay, so again, for that matter. What was she gathering upon, being a millionaire, to understand the plight of poor children? When you look at the statistics and the data that's out there, our children or communities of color are behind in testing. They're behind in salaries and wages, adults. They're behind in equal employment opportunities. Then you couple that with the women. Women are behind in salaries, okay, in equal positions and voices. There's still some of that chauvinistic opinion that you're supposed to look pretty, sit at home, carry the babies, and cook, okay, and just keep your mouth shut. Okay, so I'm going to go more to the systems that fail when people don't take that voice and use their opportunities. So it's just like out of sight, out of mind, basically. Because unless you make you, yourself, your family, your children, your grandparents, if you don't put them on the mind of somebody, why should they signal you out of 1 million people to consider you a priority? If you don't make yourself a priority. And so these systems have kept us behind the ball.